look at the pictures and make a list of questions about Egyptian mummies. We have dealt with the pyramids, watched videos, read text, and we have written questions and tried to find answers for them. Now we turn to mummification. Can you write some questions here you want to know about the mummies? Okay, you can pause the video, write the questions, and come back to me. For me, myself, I'm gonna work on my own. For example, I want to know how working is mummified. Why did they use salt? Why did they use... And now we are going to read this text to try to find the answers to our questions.
Did you know that about 70 million mummies were made in ancient Egypt over 3,000 years? The bodies of the pharaohs were preserved by embalming. First, they took all the very important organs out of the body, apart from the heart. These were put in a canopic jar. Then, they had to get the moisture, the water, out of the body. They did this by covering the body in salt. Have you ever thought about why you are thirsty after salty food? The answer is simple. Salt removes water from things including bodies. Next, they left the body to dry out for about 40 days. After this, creams were used to preserve the skin. Then they stuffed the mummy with sand and spices, and wrapped it in a material called linen. Finally, it was wrapped in a sheet called a shroud and put in a sarcophagus.
So again, if you want to learn this very well, as I told you in the class before, all the time I tell you this, you need to read, while you are reading, just you can hold the pencil or something, and you are going to play the audio, just to teach yourself how to read very well. You need to listen to the audio while you are following in the book.
Mummification in the New Kingdom. The preservation of the body was essential to the ancient Egyptians. They believed without a body, a person's soul might not be able to fully accomplish the journey into the afterlife. The mummification process was performed differently during different time periods, and it reached its height of expression in the New Kingdom. During the New Kingdom, once a person died, and if they were wealthy enough, their body was taken to an ibu so that it could be ritually purified. Then, it was brought to the Pur Nefer, or good house. In the Pur Nefer, one of the priests would remove the brain through the left nostril. Then the lungs, liver, stomach, and intestines were removed via a small incision on the left side of the abdomen. These organs were then individually mummified and placed in canopic jars. Once the internal organs were removed, the body cavity was filled with natron salt. The entire body was covered with natron, and it was left to dry for about 40 days. After it had completely dried out, the body could be wrapped. It took about 15 days to place all of the wrappings on the body. Start to finish, it took about 70 days to make a mummy. Once this process had been completed, the opening of the mouth ceremony would be held. This is where the deceased was told, "You are young again, you shall live again."
After you read, listened to a text and watched the video clip about mummifications, did you find answers to your questions? Now with the passive voice, the English grammar rules. In English, we care for the who did everything. This is the active voice. For example, if you say the teacher opened the door. Here we say the teacher, the one who did it. But in passive, we don't care who did it. We just care for the action. For example, we say the door was opened. I don't care who opened it, but I just care for the action itself, what happened, not who did it. You also can use it. You can say the door was opened by the teacher if it's very important to say who did it, but you are gonna write it at the very end of the sentence. Concerning the structure of passive voice, is going to be, you are going to write the object and verb to be. Here I said to be because yes, with all tenses you are going to use the verb to be. If in the present you are going to use am, is, are. Past you are going to use was and were, and so on. Even in the future you're going to use will be, will be. So you then are going to add the past participle. You know, this is the third conjugation of a verb. For example, the verb open, opened, opened. The third one is the past participle. If you say I watch, watch it, watch it. So the third one is the past participle. So here you are going to say, for example, I was born. I, the object, was here because I text was. If I said my friends, we say were. If I say any object here, we are going to change the verb to be according to it. If it's singular, you're going to use was. If it's plural, you're going to use were. And the past participle, right? I was born. Everybody drinks water. This one you have studied last year or in book 4. The present impassive. Here you say drinks. This is not drank. All right. Everybody drinks water. Here we care for the object. This object is going to come at the very beginning of the sentence. So we say water. And drinks here is gonna be divided into two. The verb to be is, and because it's a present we say is, and singular one. If it's more than one we say are. So water is drunk by everybody. And look here, I said by because I want to say it everybody. If I don't care, you say water is drunk. That's okay. This is how we build the sentence: subject, verb, and object. Everybody drinks water. Okay, in the passive, how we do it? We are going to start with the object. Water is drunk by everybody. And now, let's try to change the following sentence into passive. I sent cards to all my friends. Here, cards are the object, so we are going to start with cards. So we say, cards were sent to all my friends. The earthquake destroyed the town last night. So here we have the town. This is the object. We are going to start with that and say the town was destroyed last night. And remember, the town is one, so we said was. And here cards is plural, so we said were. Okay, in your book you are going to find this use of English packs. It's already written there. We use the past simple passive when the focus is on the past action and not who was doing the action. For example, the Great Pyramid. Pyramid is one, so we say not pyramids. We say Pyramid of Giza was built. If it's pyramids, we say were built. When the person who did the action is important, we can add by, as we said. For example, here we said by 1,000 workers. And now this is your workbook. You need to do it yourself, but I'm going to answer this one with you just to apply this rule, use of English and the passive, and then we're going to try to do it. Also, I recommend that you pause the video, try to answer it yourself, take your time. What you are going to do, you are going to complete the sentences about the mummy making process you've read about before, using the past simple passive, and put the sentences into order after that. Alright, so now you are going to pause the video, try to do it yourself, and come back. Back again. Let's see the answers. The whole answers and the check yours. The body was covered because cover, it's gonna be was covered because the body is one. Here it was dried out because it, And remember, by the way, all of them mostly it, but only here one. This one is creams, so this is plural. Even here we have the word body. Body is singular, so mostly you are gonna use was for most of them, but creams. And you are going to put the past participle of the verb. For example, dry, dried here, preserve, preserved, wrap, wrapped, use, used, put. It's not going to be changed because it's a regular, stuffed, stuffed here and wrapped here. So you just put the was or were and the past participle. As I said, you are going to find your passive. Okay, try to do it again, check your answers and come back to me. Back. So number 3 was preserved, 4 was wrapped, creams were used, was bought, was stuffed, and was wrapped. And now we try to order, put the sentence in order. I hope that you answered all of them correct. Now this is one of your activities, so you should do it yourself. Pause the video, try to answer it yourself, make a questions, and then match the questions with the answer. Make a questions. Okay, and now, how long body dried out for? How long was the body dried out for? And this is the answer. What was used to preserve the skin? Creams. What was mommy put in? Sarcophagus. What was the mummy stuffed with? Sand and spices. And what material was the mummy wrapped in? It's online. Now complete the information about how the pyramids were built using the correct form of the passive. Again, we are working on passive here. You are going to take your time, pause the video, read the text, and try to complete it using passive. For example, here, first of all, a perfect square in the desert sand. It was marked. We said was marked because square is one, for so we say was, and mark it's gonna put ed, so it's marked. Okay, was marked. Go on doing the other four. Now we are back. Let's find the correct answers. Were moved, were made, was finished or was almost finished, was placed. For your homework, I want you to talk about what you learned about the pyramids. Try to do this. Try to use the chart KWL. Also, for your homework, I want you to answer these questions. Very much.